Hi guys, well, it's time for the second part of the Matrix season, which is going to be my review of the Matrix Reloaded. Things are going to get pretty interesting in this one. Again, it's going to have some spoilers, probably going to run over two parts again, so enjoy. Well, the plot of the Matrix Reloaded. Now, as I said, this is where it gets interesting, because it's really quite complicated. I'd say overly complicated, but anyway. The film starts with Neo having a vision of Trinity getting killed by an agent in the Matrix. Of course, he's a bit disturbed by this, but before he can tell her or do anything about it, he has to go to a meeting with the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, which is his hovercraft, because they're being recalled to Zion by Commander Locke, who's the guy in charge of the Zion forces, because Niobe and Ghost of the Logos hovercraft have found information, this is all explained in Enter the Matrix and the Animatrix. They found evidence that the machines are digging down towards Zion, and Locke wants everybody to go back to Zion to defend. So, in the middle of the conference, the agents turn up to, well, take out everybody so that they can't protect Zion. Neo shows that he's truly been accepted as the One by trying to take them on with one hand, and then he realizes they've been upgraded to face him, and he kicks their asses and flies off. And then you see Smith come back. Obviously he died in the first one, so that's a bit of a surprise, and he does some evil laughing. So they all go back to Zion, but except for one ship which has stayed in the Matrix to see if the Oracle wants to contact any of them, which she does. And they tell the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar that she wants to speak to Neo. So they go back to Zion, have a party, which is a bit strange, and the Nebuchadnezzar heads back out again, which is against Locke's commands, to see what the Oracle wants. And she sees Neo and tells him that there are certain programs in the Matrix known as exiles. And just to explain this, because it is not that well explained, exiles are programs that have fulfilled their ultimate purpose. So, say for example, an antivirus program that's taken out the virus. They're supposed to return to the source, which is where the Matrix is run, and be deleted. But the exiles are programs that ran. They didn't want to be deleted, so they ran away. And the Oracle tells Neo that one exile has got hold of a program called the Keymaker, which he needs to progress, and the exile is called the Merovingian. So he has to go and face the Merovingian. But before that, Smith turns up, surprises Neo, says, well, I think we should have a fight because I want to, and they have a massive fight. I'll go into that in the special effects. And Neo escapes, and he finds out in that fight that Smith can clone himself, which is weird. Then the crew go to see the Merovingian, who says that he won't give them the Keymaker because he wants to keep him. They have huge chase on the freeway and everything, and they finally get the Keymaker. To help the Nebuchadnezzar, Locke sends out two other ships to bring them in. He wants to bring them back. That's the Logos with Niobe and Ghost, and some other ship which is wholly irrelevant. While all this is happening, another crew are in the Matrix, and one of them gets taken over by Smith, and he then jacks out of the Matrix. So Smith now has a human body. Smith is kind of taking over the Matrix at this point. So they've got the Keymaker. He tells them that they have to find a room in a highly secured building which will give them the answers to their questions. So they have a massive raid on a power plant to take down the security grid. They infiltrate the grid. The Keymaker helps him, opens the door, he gets killed, and Neo goes in to see the architect, who actually started the Matrix. And he tells Neo that his ultimate purpose isn't to stop the machines, it's to restart the Matrix. Whenever there's a 1, it's an anomaly in the system, it's not supposed to exist. and the architect's ability is to make sure the Matrix continues so the machines have their own supply of energy. And he says he can either go and restart the Matrix with him, or he can go and help Trinity and try and fight the machines. And obviously he chooses to save Trinity because at this point she's going to go and be killed by the agent. And he saves her, but she actually got shot and died, so he brings her back to life. And they leave the Matrix, and he talks to Morpheus, and he says, well, actually the prophecy wasn't to stop the machines, it was to just keep the Matrix going. He's obviously very annoyed. At that point, they get attacked by some Sentinels, and the Nebuchadnezzar is blown up. Everybody on board escaped. And Neo fends off the Sentinels by using some sort of force powers. I don't know, he sends out an EMP or something, and takes out all the Sentinels. And they then get picked up by another ship, who are told that the EMP barrier they set up to defend against the machines from drilling failed because one EMP got set off too early, and all the hovercrafts got knocked out. But they think it was an insider, but they don't know who. And it goes to the medical bay on the ship where Neo is, and you see that it's actually Bane, the guy who's been taken over by Smith, and that's where the film ends, on a cliffhanger for Revolutions. Now, I did go overboard on the plot on that one, I give you that 6 minutes. But it's a very complicated plot. It does need to be gone into in quite a lot of detail. The film is good, it's got a really good plot, if complicated, but it feels as if it is a bridge to Revolutions, and that is part of the problem, because they cut stuff out of this film to put in Enter the Matrix and the Animatrix, and therefore if you haven't seen both of them, some of it's not going to make sense. So, you know, that's not great, but there are some fantastic plot lines, such as Smith being able to replicate himself. That's a really cool concept. And the plot twist at the end where it turns out that he's not meant to save the Matrix, he's just meant to keep it going. And Neo is in cool form in this film. He seems effortless. It's really, really cool. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10, just simply because it's not really a complete work unless you've seen the other bits in it. So yeah, this is definitely going to go into 2 bits. Special effects are probably the best in the series. They're different to either films. They change the special effects through all 3 films. The kung fu scenes are different. They're not filmed in entirely the same way as the first one. I don't quite know how, but they feel different. For example, Neo's fight with Seraph, the Guardian of the Oracle. It's slower, but somehow more intense. It's really hard to tell. But it's still really cool. Again, bullet time is slightly different as well. The only real time it's in the film is when something really dramatic is going to happen, whereas in the other film, it was used, the first Matrix, it was used quite a lot for ordinary things. But in this, it's used in the truck chase, Trinity, when she falls out the window. Special scenes, it's not used too much, and that works to its benefit. Obviously, points of interest are the Burly Brawl, which is where Neo fights all the different Agent Smiths. It's absolutely fantastic. It's still a flawless piece of work, even a couple years on, and you know how much special effects have advanced. It's just brilliant. You just have to see it to believe it. It's just tons of Smiths fighting Neo. It's brilliant. And the freeway chase is also brilliant. It's a huge chase on the freeway with cars going everywhere, bullets flying everywhere, and in the end it ends up with a huge explosion when 2 trucks collide, and it is brilliant because it's in bullet time and it swirls around the explosion. It's brilliant. The only downside is that some of it is obviously CGI, as in the Burly Brawl, some of the physics don't match up. I mean, he hits a guy, and then he somersaults into the air and never comes back down. It's just strange. But that's really a minor flaw against some fantastic special effects, so definitely a 9 out of 10 there. Well, it looks like I'm about to run out of time, so I'll see you guys over on part 2. I did go overboard on the plot, so I apologise for that.